The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
This is a declaration, proclamation for the nation. We are kings and queens. We are kings and queens. With all the hate we facing, dreams we're chasing, no replacing. We need to be free. To adjust our crown. Hey, oh, to adjust our crown. Hey, 'cause they falling on the ground. 'Cause they falling.
Welcome back to the Opinion Room. I'm Nicole.
I'm LJ.
I got my LJ back, you guys. You don't know how this feels.
And we also have Paige.
And we got our Paige
is
back.
on Skype.
Ooh, hi, boo.
Hello, everybody.
Happy Friday.
Yes.
You're looking good. You're glowing, girl. Look at your skin. Look at that pregnant skin.
Thank you, y'all.
Ooh.
Feels good to be semi back.
Yes.
I missed y'all.
We miss
you too.
Miss you too.
Yes.
I say we ain't. Yeah.
Give a shout out and thank everybody who's been coming in and filling in for LJ and I and being our guests. Thank you guys.
Thank
you guys
you so
did a
much.
wonderful job the past 2 shows. So
We
thank you.
appreciate
Yes, thank you.
Yes. So LJ, I know, unfortunately, Grandma passed away. Tell us how the homegoing service was. How was that?
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
The mortuary really did really well on her makeup. Even though I did just a turnaround.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It was nice. It was peaceful.
That's good. That's very, very good. I'm glad. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I'm glad that you know that it was a good homegoing service for her. Her makeup looked good. She looked good. I'm very happy to hear that. Good. All right. Good.
Yeah.
Because we missed you so much too.
Missed
so
y'all
rest in
too.
peace. Okay, so let's get into our show, you guys. Now, as you know, it's a lot of racial injustice going on, and it's a lot of things going on into the media. So we want to give you our millennial opinion on everything. I know you're hearing a lot on the news. I know you're hearing a lot from different speakers and celebrities, even down to Sesame Street. And there's a message to be held in all of this. So let's go ahead and dive right onto it from our opinion. So, to be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be enraged all of the time. And that is by James Baldwin. So I wanted to start off with that. So, yes. So to be seen as someone who's enraged all of the time, let's delve into that. Why? Why do you think that we're enraged all of the time? Why do you think we're seen as people who are angry and upset and want to be in almost like seen as we're in a mob or this is like some movement? Why?
People got to realize we're not always angry.
Okay. Let's talk about
What
it.
you do to us makes us angry. So it's like talking about us, hating on us, that makes us angry. We're not angry people. We're actually very polite and really respectful and nice until you take us there. Then you're going to get that anger.
Okay. All right.
See, that sounds so nice. You say we're really polite, but that's not, unfortunately, it seems like that's not what everybody sees. It's like because they see us and the color of our skin, they see us as intimidating, or our masculinity just shows, it scares them for some reason.
If you're not smiling or showing your teeth, and then if you just regular look, everybody always think that I'm angry and I really don't be.
And that's a stereotype. These are all systemic stereotypes that have been ingrained in us for years and years and years, down to the imagery that we see, down to the things that we see on TV, our cartoons. Everything has been ingrained in our thought process. So that also is a problem. So let's dive in even deeper with what's going on now and why it's going on. So why is there a protest going on around the world, you may ask? Here's why. A black man, George Floyd, the latest casualty of deaths in a string within a decade plus of African Americans killed at the hands of police officers. Floyd was 46 years old, and he lived in Minneapolis under the devastating conditions of living in the flux of a job loss pandemic, and was confused of attempting to use a counterfeit $20 bill to purchase goods. The police were called on Floyd that day, And instead of placing Mr. Floyd in the back of the police vehicle under arrest to be seen by a judge or a jury, the American way, there was Senior Officer David Kavanaugh, a white officer whom pressed his knee upon Floyd's neck for over 8 minutes in excessive force and suffocated him to death in a widely viewed sadistic public display. Kavanaugh, along with 3 co-workers, Thomas Lane J., Alexander King, and Tao Tu, who looked on a sworn oath and promised to protect and serve and assist in the murder of George Floyd on May 25th, 2020. So, along with George Floyd, Eric Garner, Tamar Rice, Breonna Taylor, Ezell Ford, Michael Brown, Boheem Jean, Philando Castro, Michelle Cusick, only to name a few, are some in the many who have lost their lives under the hands of police brutality.
Just say it.
And so, according to a study, did you know that black people are 2.5 times more likely to die than their white counterparts at the hands of police? This is a statistic that's just out there. And it's killing me. I mean, you're black. I'm black. We're beautiful, Lenny. And we have people out there who just don't see us as beautiful, and it's breaking my heart. Like, I go and I wake up every day with the intention to spread joy, to go and make sure that the students I serve all receive a quality education, not just the black ones, not just the white ones, not just the Asian ones, all of my students. And the respect is not given to me as their teacher who want to educate everybody across the board with quality education as a black woman. I have to be followed around in stores. I have to be seen as something that is less than. It needs to stop. It has to stop with us. We are the generation that has to say enough is enough. And that's why everybody is so angry.
That and it has to start with us as a people.
Right.
Because we hate on ourselves the same amount as that these officers hate on us. So African Americans.
Now dive into that.
We really have to stop hating ourselves.
Why do you think we hate ourselves? Like, what do you guys see it as, going on in our communities? Like, how? What is the hate? What do you see?
We kill our own brothers and sisters. We fight each other, gay, straight, whatever you are. It's like we want everybody else to respect us of our race. But we can't even respect our own race by helping our own kind. We go over and beyond to respect every other race, but when it comes to ours, we don't. We basically put our own race on the back burner. And it's like, we want all this to change, we need to start changing within ourselves.
Now, what do you mean by respect? Like, do you think that it's derogatory to call somebody a nigga in a conversation? Like, over time, I know that it's become a term of endearment or of a hello or what's that, bitch? What's that, nigga? That's my nigga.
Now at the
like,
point, because it's
is that the type of disrespect you mean upon our own selves that we have to correct?
That and just not being there for our own people. Even if you sexual orientation is different. We have our own community who actually hates. You got basically, let me guess, like you got the heterosexuals who will hate on a homosexual. It's like it varies on what it is. You got gang members hating on other gang members, but it's like we all want
people
all this.
Color.
Yes.
Yep.
But that's, I feel like, a deeper layer, too. Like, okay, people you say that are hating on people who are gay, that has to do with religious standpoint. That might be of a different background, that goes on a deeper layer towards that. And even still, just because you're homosexual, you're black at the end of the day. And I still love you. And I love all of my brothers and sisters, regardless of what they choose to like. At the end of the day, we're all human.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't see it that way. A lot of our people do not see it that way. At the end of the day,
we're all human.
And and just to go back to where you mentioned the word nigga, like I feel like we need to start respecting ourselves as black individuals first. We need to show ourselves respect if we want to get respect in return from other races as well. Like, personally, I don't think anybody should say the word nigga. Nigga. Like, I know now it's used as slang, but going back, it's derogatory. And I feel like as black people, like you said, Nicole, we use it as a form of endearment. And to me, it's such a negative word, but we use it to glorify ourselves versus where we can say, you know, like how, for example, they'd be like, my nigga. We could just be like, my king, like just something like that in the conversation, or my queen, listen to what I'm saying, you know, and just self-consciously by saying something, we're self-consciously uplifting our black brother or our black sister and not even knowing that.
Because
versus
we're all
saying,
kings and queens.
huh?
Because we're all kings and queens.
That's right.
Exactly. And just by saying simply nigga, like it's putting our own selves down. Like, and then now we hear Asians, his Latinos, even white people are saying nigga.
Yeah.
Let them say that. It's negative. If they want to say it, let them say it. It's, to me, that's my opinion. It's a negative word. So if they want to say it, let them say it to one another. We're not going to accept them saying it to us.
Oh no.
Because it means an ignorant person.
Feel like we need to change the narrative and change our vocabulary and start acknowledging acknowledging each other on a higher level. And then once they hear that, then they're gonna be like, "What are they saying? King, queen, prince?
They're gonna be like, what is that? What's going on with them?"
They need to check themselves and talk to us with respect, because we're not talking down to each other. They see us, so they need to step it up and respect us.
It is a difference. It is a difference when somebody acknowledge you as that. Because I had a guest I was just walking in the store and this guy was just like, "Hey, King," and it was like, it caught me off guard. Like,
you feel good.
Exactly.
It just puts you in another place, doesn't it? I love that.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That threw you off. Like, hey, dang, I am a king. Thank you. That's beautiful. Versus, what if he was like, "What's up, my nigga?" You would be like, "Oh, okay, you know, whatever." That's not inspirational.
You just would have got that head nod. What's up?
Yeah.
Exactly. And I feel like that's what we need to, that's how we need to be an example in public, anywhere, in front of everybody, amongst ourselves, amongst our peers, whoever.
So we set the precedence. We should set the example of the respect that we want from everybody else. It starts with us within our own community, is what you're saying. That's a step forward then for us.
Absolutely. Okay. Yes, 100%.
Because we always telling people, to get respect, you got to give it. So if I'm giving you respect, I expect the same respect that I'm giving you. To be
given. Amen. I'm with that. All right.
And it breaks my heart just to see and hear. And those were only a few names that you mentioned, along with George Floyd. There's tons and tons of black women and men who have been killed and hurt by the police. It's just too much.
Right. And it has to stop. Like, does my life not matter enough to where I just don't make it home if I'm stopped by the police? Are you worried about your friend, your colleague, your coworker, the one who you be kikiing, you laugh at all my jokes at work? You love to see me act silly all the time. You know, have that same energy when it comes to my life. Have that same energy. I want to see Sade again because I had such a good time with her when we went out. Or I respect her, the way that she talks to the students and the way that she has care and tact when she deals with people around her. I really have respect for this individual, and I really care about their lives, which is the same for the other race too. It should be the same for Hispanics, Asians, all of us. We set the precedence. Come on, we have to set an example for each other, and it all starts within us. And if we come together like that, and we come as unity forward against people who feel like we're less than, then they have no choice but to switch up the narrative. No choice.
Place.
Yeah,
exactly.
Basically, all these protests are showing it. When we work together, we can make some moves. And that isn't that what Martin Luther King and Malcolm X did? Everybody worked together.
And not just black people, white people. We're at the forefront.
So it's like we need to work together to make change. That's the only way we're going to make change. We have to become one. When we're all one, we're stronger than any government. We're stronger than any...
we are strong.
We're stronger than any police force. We're stronger as one. Because at the end of the day, we're all of one country. You get the whole country protesting. Government, police got to do something. Because guess what? We can take... Hey, all of us together, we can take you out.
And we're not even trying to be on no
Sure
anarchy
not.
shit. And even if we wanted to really go back and just say we want, like someone I heard say on social media, revenge for all of the stuff that's happened to us since we got here on those boats, it would be vicious. It would be worse than Django. The blood would wash through the streets like in The Shining for all of the black people who have lost their lives at the senseless hands of racism. It would be ridiculous. You would be bathing in it like in Hostel. And no one wants to sadistically see that either. It has to stop for everybody across the board. Just because I'm pulled over, let me go to a court. Let me see a judge. Let me have my right as an American, not just as a black American, but as an American to see a judge and a jury. How are you able to tell me that you take that right away from me? So you have more power than the person who's going to convict me? You're jumping over them in the chain of commands. You're taught to just jump over everybody and you're going to hold me down? How? There has to be some type of reform, you guys. It has to be. So let me go ahead and give my disclaimer for tonight. We already got deep, but we about to get deeper, y'all. So here's the disclaimer. The thoughts and views discussed on tonight's show reflect our personal thoughts and experiences with racism here in the United States of America. We are not aiming to cause division and not causing beliefs that cause division because they've already been established into place. We're simply giving our voice of opinion and our amendment right to free speech.
Amen.
All right. So let's go on ahead and play a video for you. We're going to play a clip on what it means to have racism in America.
Can you guys hear me okay? You guys hear me okay? All right. I really can't make out many faces, so thank you all for being here. And thank you especially to Steve and Yusuf for putting this together. Let me get things sorted. So this will be a long talk, I have to be honest, okay? But we have a lot to cover, and we got to get everybody on the same plane, roughly, all right? And I want to be completely honest from the outset. I think the way that the term race gets used today is profoundly euphemistic. You see, when I hear the terms like race and privilege and inclusion, I admittedly cringe a little. And the reason is not because I'm afraid to engage these terms. I engage them literally every day, but because I'm convinced that what we really want to talk about is racism and power. And it seems so hard to make this simple rhetorical move in U.S. society is unbelievably telling. This evasion speaks volumes, I would say, to the ways in which racism has been working in U.S. society since the 1970s and early 1980s, really. As I'll get to later, the collective evasion about racism works hand in hand with the way power works in the U.S. in the 21st century. And I think this is why activists have appropriated the term white supremacy today. This language is meant to rattle those who see racism as a problem of personal moral failings, as a problem reducible simply to personal belief and attitude, and as problems that do not affect all of us, but only some of us. This movement we call Black Lives Matter is about calling this myth into question. Indeed, I would say that it is as much a response to the failings of late 20th and early 21st century race talk as it is a product of it. You see, over the past 30 years or so, thinkers and activists committed to justice have found themselves in the tricky place of having to talk about race and privilege rather than racism. This is not simply because we find ourselves having to cater to so-called white anxiety, but also because in today's marketplace of ideas, these euphemisms have a commodity value that is disproportionate to their transformative value. But as a historian, you see, I'm principally concerned with this tricky thing we call causality. And this evasion, this shifting of our attention away from racism and toward race, it does a certain kind of work. This is because race does not explain causality. Racism does. So let me start with some definitions here. Race is the child of racism, not the parent. Racism is a social practice and thus an action. And actions take place over time and are committed by individuals and groups of individuals. Ultimately, racism seeks to make race real. It seeks to make natural inequality seem true. On the other hand, race is an ideology. Race is a collective faith that intrinsic differences distinguish humans into distinct groups of unequal rank. So let me repeat that. Race is a collective faith that intrinsic differences distinguish humans into distinct groups of unequal rank. The ideology of race sanctions inequality as natural and unavoidable. Racism can exist without the ideology of race, but over time and in the right setting, racism gives the ideology of race life. So how so? Racism works through daily practice, through daily rituals and communicative acts that make race seem like something observable and supposedly verifiable. Today, this works despite the fact that we know there is nothing scientific about it. There are no ways to distinguish between human races with DNA because race does not exist. We know this. It's a hard fact. We know it, period. Okay? So another thing to consider is...
That was some important
That was heavy.
information. Yes,
That broke it down to a science. For some of you guys who just feel like racism doesn't even exist, it's not even an underlying factor. Where did this come from? Is this a new phenomenon? I have held behind my closed eyes for so long. It's real, you guys. No more rose-colored glasses. This is really what's going on right now.
But we have started a change.
Okay.
Nicole has some facts on them changes.
So the brief change that's coming, because we have so much further to go. So far, there is a no-knock law without a warrant on behalf of Breonna Taylor that has just been enacted. So change is coming about. Don't be the ones out there thinking that you're out there protesting for nothing. Something is being done. Slowly but surely, we're seeing change. Also, there's also now a no chokehold law that's been instated in Minnesota, where George Floyd is. So if it starts there at the core of the problem, hopefully it could spread everywhere and we could stop seeing excessive force being used on the police force. So it has to start somewhere, you guys. Let's start it. Okay. So the current thoughts of the police brutality that's going on, do you feel like it's worse than what we saw in the 60s? When it was,
I can't say what we saw in the 60s.
You're right, because we weren't there. But, okay, stuff that we've seen on TV, because we're young. We weren't there. We don't know. That was our parents' time. That was our grandparents, seeing all that happen right before their eyes, out there protesting, right at the forefront. So because we're seeing it now in our generation, and from what you've seen on TV with even the Rodney King riots, what do you compare the two as parallel? Do you think it was worse back then with the dogs and the water hoses?
Well,
and the billy clubs?
Of course it was worse back then.
Okay.
Because we had to ride in the back of the bus. We couldn't go to the same school as Caucasians.
Segregated.
We couldn't eat in the same restaurant. So that was worse then till now. Even though now we're losing our people due to the people who's supposed to protect us, which are the police. But I still feel like back then was worse, because back then you couldn't even technically look at a Caucasian.
Couldn't whistle at one for dang sure.
So it's like, has it changed? It changed.
The accusation of that, which is sick and disgusting. Why would a boy try to whistle at somebody
and
be beaten senseless to death? Has it?
It has changed. It went from worse to okay. But we still don't. We need that okay to. We need it gone. Period. We need it gone.
A lot of work to do, though.
Yeah.
I think I have to agree with you, but I do think it's more modern. Like, they just have more technology. Like, they're using these bullets, and people are just, maybe, they don't have the dogs out there, but they're just as vicious. Like, they're using a lot of, they're attacking people, just pushing them with their bare hands, whatever they're doing, using force. They're still hurting us. But I can say we have come a long way, but we still have a lot of work to do.
Oh, yeah,
so much further.
The work is not done, but it's just from then till now. It's like, you got to ask yourself, would you rather go through what they've been through back then, or go through what we're going through now?
Neither.
Well, of course we don't want neither, but it's
the sad part is it's freaking 2020.
Yes.
Like, come on now. Yes. And it just alarms me to just what I'm hearing on the news, to hear that all this stuff is happening. Like, I heard the Confederate flag is just now being pulled down or not used in a NASCAR. And I'm thinking, what? The Confederate flag? How is that not even banned to be printed? Like, how is that still even able to be up? in 2020. Like,
And
I didn't
that
even know that.
shows-
And then
that
I think
shows
it
the
was
last
in
generation.
Paris, or I can't remember where it was, but yeah, the protesters, they tore down the slavery statue.
Okay,
What?
yes.
How is a slavery
One of the
statue
slave
still
owners.
up? Like, these are my questions.
Because
Like, all of that
Baffles your
stuff
mind,
should have
don't
been.
Because we
Baffles
just now
your
doing
mind.
something. You have to remember, there's still a generation before us. So it's like,
Yeah.
what did they do to try to help change it?
They did. They were the ones out there with the dogs on them. They were the ones with the fire hoses. They were the ones going
That
through
was
the trenches.
the generation before our generation. We can remember that was our grandparents' generation.
Okay.
So what about their children's
In the middle?
generation, which is the generation under us?
Do you think that we saw a calm before the storm? Like, would you agree that we had a time where we were allowed to have Michael Jackson be the #1 pop star in the world, where we had the first black Miss America, where we had some of the most famous people in the industry be in film and not receive accolades, but have amazing parts in film and music and not get their due justice? There was a whole
Is
time
it
frame that was
just
in
coming?
between.
So is this just coming
Coming to
alive?
head.
Our generation.
It's coming to
because
head.
it's like when you go back and think when we were 8 all the way until we were 18, like was it really this? I don't remember it being this tough.
Think about it. A lot of this stuff has been covered up under the rug. So now it probably has been going on, but it just wasn't televised as much as it is now. Again, technology has enhanced. So now people are just out there filming things. It's right at the tips of their fingertips.
Yeah.
It's right on their phone.
Okay,
There's camera phones.
And then I get the whole filming, but it's like still do something, say something. Don't just sit there and hold your camera and you're watching this. Do something. Like you can film and go do something.
It's a catch-22.
Because
If a man is beating his wife up and he has a gun and he's up there choking the hell out of her and you're sitting right there under him, you're going to just snatch her out and risk getting shot? It's a chance that you're taking.
You're risking your life.
You're risking
too.
your life. What's wrong is wrong. That person shouldn't be doing that to that individual, period, especially if they're supposed to serve and protect them.
But it's like, can you just sit
Period.
there? Can you sit there and literally sit there and watch that and not do nothing? Me personally, I can't. I know me. I'm not going to
You're a
sit
martyr.
there and watch no man beat up on no woman. I'm not going to watch anybody beat up on anybody. It's like, y'all going to videotape? Okay, there's more than 5 cameras, but guess what? As we're all videotaping this one person, there's more than 5, 6 of us. 5, 6 of us against that one person. We can help everybody. Look how many people. There's always more than 10 videos of the same situation going around. So that shows me, okay, there was 10 different people standing there. So everybody's standing there with their phones and no one wants to do anything. Like, it's time to do something instead of just watching.
I hear you.
Because at the end of the day, we are all God's children and we have to protect our own.
Right. No, I hear you. But in a perfect world, the same people who would have reached at the police 9 times out of 10, and this is like all the 9 out of the 10, they will be convicted for attacking a police officer just for helping the individual.
Well,
who's
then
pinned
that's
down.
something that
And that's something you have to face, too.
No, that's something that the law can change. Because if
Legislation.
we as citizens is helping another citizen because we see that they're doing something bad and then it's on video, I'll go to court.
Right.
Guess what? How you gonna convict me if I got all this proof and I'm telling you why I attacked this police officer? One, he had his knee on this man's neck. And if you hear him saying he can't breathe, I'm not going to continue to stay there. Okay, the police got all them other people, but guess what? I got all these other people videoing. If we all really care, we all going to jump in and do what we got to do to save somebody. Take us to court, take us to jail. Guess what? We still have to see a judge, and you still have to prove your case. You still have to tell them why you did it, and then there's video.
And we're
So
more
it's
likely
like-
to be
And
convicted of crimes more at a rate once we get to court anyway. They want us in
Yeah,
jail anyway.
And LJ, what you're saying, I agree. But the way, unfortunately, how our our justice system is set up, because you jumped in and helped, you will be going to jail too. At the end of the day,
No, hey,
as sad
Paige,
as
bring
that
that up.
sounds, as sounds, by you trying to help and jump in, you will be convicted.
Right. And it goes
That-
back to systemic racism. Now, Paige, give us some facts
But
on
at
that
least
because you're my
I
facts girl.
see with that. At least it's like if I get convicted, at least in my mind, I did something to help. Convict me but I didn't sit there.
You're
I
a
did
martyr.
something.
Yes, I commend. Yeah, amen. We need more of you in the world. Definitely.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about what is systemic racism for the people out there who don't know what it means. What is that, Paige? What does that look like?
Systemic racism, it affects the structure of our entire society. So it pretty much, even if no one recognizes it's happening every day. Decisions are made by people who may not even think of themselves as racist. So thinking it doesn't have to be somebody that's a part of the KKK or the white supremacists that's out there
It's
marching
your
against, marching against people of color. It's just something that's culturally conditioned in people. They don't even realize that they're doing it.
So not to cut you off. So you don't have to be carrying a tiki torch and be fine people. You could be racist.
Exactly.
Okay,
It's your actions. Your actions is what makes you racist.
Our everyday lives.
It is your actions that make you racist. Period.
Absolutely. And it's disparities that take place in our healthcare systems, the workforce, our justice system as well. And then so also I want to let you guys know 7 ways that the systemic racism does exist today. So number 1, it exists in our wealth. Did you guys know that white families hold 90% of national wealth?
90% of the national wealth?
Yes, white people hold 90% of national wealth.
Even though we got J&B and Oprah and all them?
So that's out of 90%. So out of that 10%, we splitting that 10% with other races.
Yeah, Latinos hold 2.3%, and blacks only hold 2.6% of the wealth in our society.
That's that's about 4 point. Well, you said 2 point what?
Blacks hold 2.6%. And then the rest is,
And we only make up 13% of the population, though.
Yeah. So, but the majority is held by the Caucasians.
90%.
Which is really sad. So just think of it as this. For every $100 white families earn in income, black families only earn $57.30. So what does that tell you?
Out of $100?
That's about 53%, about 53, 54%.
Wow.
Of $100 bill. So at least I'm getting half, but still, I want that $100 too.
Wow.
I know.
Especially if we all doing the same work to get it.
Exactly. But it's happening.
How is it in the housing? Like, how is it seen in our housing?
Well, for example, our housing.
We can't afford it. That's the
listen to this.
I'm listening.
So, blacks are shown 18% fewer homes and 4% fewer rental units than whites. So, for example, take the neighborhood, the city, Laguna Niguel. Say there's 10 houses that are on the market for sale. We as black people, they're only going to show us 4 or 5 houses, just because we're black. They don't really want us out there. So they're not going to show us everything that they have to offer. Versus if a black family pulling behind us, they're going to show them everything on that block because that's who they really want in that neighborhood.
Systemically. So I can win the California lottery today, win $100 million and want to buy a house on that block just because I've always wanted to live in Laguna Niguel and I always said that's my address. I'm not allowed to buy over there.
Oh, it's a lot of places we ain't allowed to buy that they wouldn't even sell to you. Look what is that? Down Highland, over off of Highland past Wilshire. Know where all them little mini mansions? Basically the
Rossmore area?
Like the Jewish neighborhood.
Okay.
You wouldn't be able to get over there. Their realtor wouldn't even, you would literally have to get somebody, another race within that community to do your paperwork for you. Because obviously once they find out you black, they gon' come up with an excuse of why they why can't you move here? They're going to find something to deny you.
We already sold this morning. It's off the market. Sorry, you got to go.
Yeah.
We already didn't fill this position.
They see you walk through that door on that open house. Oh, this has been sold. They will point out anybody in that room just to get you out of there.
Exactly. And we as Black people, we work hard for our money. We should be able to deserve to live in nice areas.
Anybody should deserve to live anywhere if you make enough money to live in that area.
If I'm paying for it and it's out of it's my money that I
Asian,
worked for,
Hispanic, Jewish,
it shouldn't
whoever.
be no problem with me if it's out of my pocket.
Right.
Why do you have a say so of where I'm going to live if I'm paying for it? Even if it's overly priced, if I want to live there, that's where I want to live.
Wow, that's deep. Yeah. That's really
another area where we are experiencing systemic injustice is
Orange County.
Stop. Where? Stop it now.
They ain't ready for me because I said Orange County, Manhattan Beach.
In our employment and workforce. So African Americans are two times as likely to be unemployed. So based on a study, applicants with white sounding names get a call back 50% more than applicants with black sounding names.
Yeah, that's why we gotta we gotta change our names on resumes.
So if I was Zach Smith, I have my Fortune 500 job today. Like that's it. Like
you would get a call. You would get a call to at least get an interview.
Oh, okay.
We ain't gonna say if that was your name, you would get it because you still got to go through the interview.
Keep me leveled. Keep me real.
Yeah,
okay.
we're not even getting based off our resume. If on the resume they read Trevante Jenkins, they're not gonna call Trevante. But if his name was Timothy Smith,
Peter Ross, I get a call back.
Man, it's so layered. It's worse than a 7-layer dip. Like, dang, even down to your name. Okay.
Yeah, that's
so
why
children's names,
we
then.
as a culture, we have to pick to give our kids the opportunity that we never had. We have to really pick and choose names that we know will fit this society for our kids.
But look at how much
sad,
we have to change and alter ourselves.
It is sad, but to make that change to give our kids a better opportunity, that is something we have to think of. If we know in our generation, like, my name is Keisha, and I'm not going to get a call back, why would I go and name my daughter Keisha Jr.? Like, it's like we really got to pick and choose.
I'm so done.
We got to pick and choose our names. We have to. It's sad that we have to, but we have to. If you want your kids to survive out here and have a good life, the better life than you, that we had or you had, we have to choose. We have to do what we have to do.
It has to come a time, though, when all of that stops, too. I mean, I get it. I see how that could be a setup already going in. I get it, right? But, I mean, at the end of the day, we are all at work. We're all putting in work.
Yeah,
we're all
the reason
humans
why it's
at
like
work.
that, because they all feel like, well, how can I pronounce your name? I don't want to get it wrong.
Give me a nickname. They've been giving people nicknames for years.
I got every nickname. My real name is what my name is, but I get called Lenny, Lonnie, Lone, like all type of crap, and it's nowhere near my name.
I know you said to give a nickname. No. Don't give me. Say my name. You pronounce my name. That is what I was born with. My name is Janae. Just because you can't pronounce it, I'm not gonna be Janie. I'm not gonna be Wanani, Janini. No.
Don't call me Toby. Say it, girl.
But that is true. It's like
how to say it.
Because it's like if you really want to go through a job, like get a job,
yes.
you do. Some people do change their names on their resumes just to get that call back. And then once you change your name on that resume, that is your name. If you get that job, that's your name at that job. If you change your name to Peter, anybody who say Peter at that job, your name is Peter. You can't, because then you find out the real name. You lied on your resume.
Oh my gosh. Well, that goes into what we should be teaching our children.
Yeah,
now, here are some things that we definitely need to be teaching our children as they grow up and as they're experiencing racism. We need to definitely teach them that black is beautiful. I know personally, if I would have known that as a little girl growing up at all white schools, I was the only black face. And I just happened to be accepted because I was light-skinned with good hair. I'm not running on that on any token, because I've been to schools where it's been African Americans there, and they've hated me because they feel like I think I'm better than them because I'm light skinned with good hair.
You just gotta teach your kids,
but you have to teach them to be respectful.
Everything
across
about
the board.
them is beautiful.
And that you're beautiful.
The way that their hair is, you got to let them know.
Yes.
Your hair ain't going to be like everybody else's, but you have your own hair, and your texture of your hair is your own. That's what makes you who you are.
Every curl, every twist, every kink, every
we
way.
We just got to continue to tell these kids what it is.
Different is okay. You don't want to look the same. No, you don't want to look like everybody else. We got to teach them to be comfortable in their own skin.
Business. I don't want to just be okay. I don't want to be looking like nobody else.
Right.
I love being different.
Right. Y'all have seen me every Friday in a different wig thus far. And you will continue to see me a different person thus far. That is the magic of being a black woman. We can switch up everything we do. And it's so beautiful. Why do you think so many other races and cultures have adapted to our style, our big earrings, our way that we wear our hair and our makeup? It sets this precedence of other people wanting to follow it. We are beautiful, and we have to start acknowledging that. And that starts with the kids. That starts at the ground level. Ground zero.
Question: have any one of you guys experienced racial profiling?
I have. Yes. You have an example?
How? Let me hear y'all examples. What was y'all example of?
You want to go first, Paige? Of when you were racially profiled?
Yes. Okay. I've experienced it going to shopping at Big Lots. I like Big Lots. They have a lot of good deals.
Yes, they do.
But yeah, and it was from believe it or not, a black security guard, like literally following me up and down every aisle, and I'm like, why is he following me? All I have in my basket is some chips. I mean, some chips, some cleaning supplies.
It's like you want to follow somebody in the store, but the person you following is most likely not going to do anything, and the people you letting go is in there ripping you off. And you following the person who's about to give you their hard-earned money.
Yeah, and also, too, I've experienced at a grocery store at, it was in Agora Hills, which is, more of a predominantly white area, where there was a problem with an African-American woman. I mean, they had like 10 police for this one woman. I don't even know what she was doing. She wasn't hurting anybody or anything. But because I was black, they were staring me down, assuming that I was with her. And all I was doing was just trying to get a snack to go to work. And they looking at me like, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm not involved with this.
Right.
What do y'all want? But just because I was another black face in that grocery store in that area,
you were an accessory.
Yes, they were trying to assume that I was with her and staring me down. So it's just really unfortunate.
That's crazy. That makes me think of that one social media video where, I don't know if you guys have seen it out there, where there's a black couple trying to get the police's attention. And so they're waving them down, flashing them down on the side of the street. And the police finally stop. And there's store owners who happen to be, I don't know, they look Persian or something. They had these big AK-47 guns trying to protect their store from looters. And literally the looters are running down the street. Like, you could see them like booking it, like boom, gone. And the police grabbed the woman and her husband, because they were the first black faces that they seen.
That was her kids. I know what you're talking about. That
and
was on the news.
Threw them up against the wall and arrested them. And thought right away, okay, are these the black people we're protecting you from? It's them. Throw them down. Like, that's the training. Like, is that the first thought that goes into the training? Like, I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. Like, here they are. They were the ones waving you down. Hey, that's them. Come get them. Even the lady who was filming, that's them. And yet and still you're like, oh, it's them. Let's get the black people. That has to stop.
Because people don't know how to pay attention and listen. I know when your adrenaline is up, because I seen that. It was on the news, because the lady that was helping them was the news reporter. She was trying to explain to the cop, like, it's not them. They got this woman and her two sons up against the wall, putting them in their little zip ties. And the news reporter is telling one of the police officers, like, that is not them. And they continue to and the police officer was talking to her he's yelling at her like, I'm trying to listen. I'm yelling at the TV like, you're not, like, they can hear me. Like, you not even listening to her. She done told you that these three people is not who you looking for.
Right.
And he was just going back and forth with her like, I'm trying to listen. And I'm yelling at my TV like, you are not listening. If I can hear it through the TV, Hey, people don't pay attention.
No, they
yeah,
don't.
it's like
because all they see is
condition-
color. At the end of the day, it's just a color. That's all they see.
Yeah,
Right.
yep.
Shoot, my craziness, I went to a job interview, and the guy had to been, I think he was like Asian or something. I don't know. But in the midst of the interview, he really asked me, one of the questions was, do you have baby mama drama?
Wait, hold
Like,
on.
wait a minute, baby mama drama? And I'm like, no, I don't have baby
In
mama
your
drama.
interview?
Yes. The question was, do you have any baby mama drama? And I looked at him like,
That is so
No.
offensive in your
Like,
interview, though. What
I
was
don't
he?
have-
What nationality was he?
I think he was Asian. But I'm like, I don't have a baby mama. And he's like, then it was just like, after I said that, his next thing was, well, because the last person told me he didn't, and that's all he had was baby mama drama. And I'm like,
So he holding you accountable because you
just
black.
because I'm black, you think that all of us got baby mamas and baby mama drama?
Oh my god!
It was at that hotel near where
That is so racist.
it was on Beverly. It's a little
Wow.
mom and pop hotel, but it was
That's
just
hella inappropriate. You
in
never
an
said
interview.
to nobody. Oh my god. Wow.
crazy.
Well, I experienced it inside of a pharmacy. I won't say which one. You know, I never want to defund the chain.
I was like, what about your Smart and Final one you had told me about?
This is worse than the Smart and Final
Oh,
one.
shoot.
This is worse.
Yeah,
I was upset. I was very upset. I in the beginning of pandemic, I refused to look any type of decent. I know that I woke up with crust in my eyes and left the house. Like what you see today was not who walked into that pharmacy. So when I walked into the pharmacy, I'm walking around, just trying to get my little knickknacks, my toiletries, and I'm being followed by two people who work in the store, and they happen to be Indian, Americans, and they were following me down each aisle though. Like you could see them through the food, and it's their face. I'm down another aisle. They in the freezer probably. It's
Hurry
their
up and
face.
buy.
I'm like, hurry up and buy, like that. And I'm just like, oh my god, like, can I buy my things? Like, what are y'all doing? So as I'm shopping, I see a Caucasian young lady in there, and she had to have been homeless. She had on no shoes. She looked dirty from head to toe. She had a huge backpack on. Long story short, she was like kind of watching them watch me and was going down each aisle putting stuff in her backpack. And I seen her doing it. So I'm like, ooh. But because of the systemic racism that's going on, and because y'all following me, and it's probably a situation with her going on, she don't have no money, it's COVID. They didn't took away her resources at wherever she probably staying due to COVID. So let me leave it alone. So they keep following me, she keeps stealing. They keep following me, she keeps stealing. The Caucasian got away with a whole backpack
But
full of stuff.
at the end of the day,
Ran out the store.
that's not even. They don't even lose that much money off of customer theft. Most of their money, that's what I don't understand. Like, you're following customers, but most of the loss that companies get is from employees. Mm-hmm. So it's like,
Yeah.
if the employees is the one causing y'all to lose money, why are you following customers around?
But that is so serious. There's been so many videos of people being followed in stores and in markets. If you say that I'm stealing because I'm black, my life is in danger. If the police show up and you just making that shit up, like let's just say you're just, what do they call them? The ones who called the police for no reason?
Whistleblower? No.
Nancy's? No, not Nancy's.
Karens.
If you a Karen and you trying to get me in trouble and you sitting up here accusing me, let's just say accusatory, just because you think that I'm doing something. You ain't got to be white to be a Karen. You could be other races and be a Karen. I'm just saying the actions suit fit. And if you think that I'm up here stealing and they come and they just think that they can have probably some terrible force on me. And I'm just waving my hands, not doing nothing. It goes that deep, you guys.
Yeah, racial profile. We're always under surveillance, African Americans.
And
here's another statistic based on that. Black drivers are 30% more likely to be pulled over by the police. Also, blacks are twice as likely to die in pedestrian accidents than whites. Also,
in pedestrian accidents?
Well, yeah, because white people are more, they're not likely to stop for us, which is really sad.
What if they were an elderly person or anything? That's terrible. And can't get across. Just because you're black, it don't matter.
Yeah. In other words, we're always under surveillance, no matter where we are, no matter what we do, no matter what we look like or have on. They just see the color of our skin.
So we the black 5G. We have unlimited surveillance every day, all day, anywhere you go. It's just that's what it is.
Sure, we probably
That's
under
exhausting.
surveillance now. They
That's
can see us.
exhausting for anybody in the human condition. It has to stop, and it starts with us in our generation. This has to just end. It's too much. This is much too much. I can't no more. We also have to teach our young children how to have good credit. A lot of times, because we don't have systemically the steps set, in precedence where our parents showed us how to save and showed us how to, put money aside, then a lot of situations would stop too. Where we have to go out there and probably do something that we shouldn't be doing or having to figure a way out of a situation we're in. That starts with us. Let's educate ourselves to get out of the situation that we may be in or may not be trying to get into in the future. A lot of changes are coming, and it has to start with us. I'm not going to say that enough, you guys. I'm not. Okay, I found a definition for the word racist. And the definition for the word racist is a person who shows or feels discrimination or prejudice against people of other races or believing that a particular race is superior to another. And that all stems from the Jim Crow South. And that is an ideology that has been going on and that needs to break. Down to the image of mammy, that black women are just supposed to be maids and we're supposed to be just making babies and we're just seen as servants. Down to the men being seen as monsters and they're big-eyed and black and they're monkeys and they derived from a monkey. No, I'm a human being. I did not have no stem cell to no monkey. I'm sorry. And if you want to call me a monkey and you believe that, then that is your own set of beliefs. And it has to stop there. That everybody has to stand up and do their own research and figure out who they are. Like it's a small world. All of us.
But I don't know why.
It starts with us, but all of us. Oh, they do.
They want to call us monkeys,
but
y'all want to go get surgery to get what we have. You call us monkeys as one. You get tans to be darker.
Right.
You go get your Botox to pump up your lips because then you go get all these fake booties. But we're monkeys though, right?
But, okay, if we monkeys and you hate us so much, why did you have our mamas breastfeeding your kids? Why was our breast milk so-called bomb for your kids to take in if we're so tainted?
Because
isn't that tainting your kids?
They thought that milk was going to make their baby strong, fast, a ball player, any type of thing. So that's what they was trying anything just to make their kid have some type of a black gene in them. I'm
just trying to understand, wrap my head around, if you dislike me so much, if you want my life to end so much, if I'm such this horrible organism that you have to teach your kids to fear me and my son and my family and my friends, then why have money being made off of me? Let me go. Let me free. Let me go do my own thing in peace. Let us live in peace is what I feel. I'm on that standpoint. Leave us alone. If you hate me that much, you want me dead that much, then leave me alone. Separate yourself from me. Do you think that that's the way to start reform? How are we going to move forward with change? That's what I'm wrapping my head around right now. How do we go forward?
Within ourselves. At the end of the day, for you to go, for anything to happen, we have to change our way of thinking, period. Anyone, other races are raisins, from Caucasians, Hispanics, African American, Asians.
Everybody.
We have to change within ourselves. That's the only way we're going to make a change. If we don't make that change within ourselves, it's never going to change.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to start supporting one another on a regular basis too. Not just when we have a cry, an outbreak or a cry or because we're angry, like supporting black businesses. I think we need to support black businesses on a yearly basis, every day.
Because that's the only way that's going to keep our culture and what we love in our business striving. No one else is going to support us. We have to support ourselves.
I have a black bike shop that I want to give a shout out to. It's called Lions Bike Shop, and it's on 1387 West 29th Street on Vermont. So that's 1387 West 29th Street. So if you're not trying to drive your car and you just want to ride on your bicycle, hit up Lions Bike Shop. And that starts there. Also, I want to give a big ups and thanks to the people at the Real 92.3 FM at the cruise show. You guys held like a conversation in a forum talking about Starbucks, and you guys were just going back and forth on a conversation describing what it was to have on memorabilia for Black Lives Matter. And Paige, I know we had a small talk. We're going to go real fast about it. How you felt like at work, you know, you're with the movement and you're with everything, but when it's time to be at work, you just be at work. What about that real fast? Like, talk to me about that real fast.
So, I mean, I agree, of course. I'm with the movement. I'm Black power, everything. I love us. But I just feel like at work, you're at work. You know, I don't think we're not on our personal time. And I do feel like that should be represented off the clock. Because I feel like if I seen, especially me being an only African American working in my business, if somebody had on white power, white people matter mask, I would be absolutely 100% offended. Like the HR would be called ASAP. But I'm not saying, and I'm saying, you know, if you want to represent, of course, Black Lives Matter, don't do it at work. Like that's on your personal time, because you got to think about it. That's very controversial in the workplace, because you don't know who that could be offending. They don't have like Black, if it says something, because don't get me wrong, I be wanting to wear my African pride and everything and all that stuff to work. Right. But at the end of the day, I got to think about who am I offending? Yeah, exactly. Because turn it around, if I'm seeing people wearing stuff about other cultures and races and stuff like that, I'm going to be offended.
Okay. Well, so I said all that to say this. On the cruise show, they did announce that Starbucks has come out with a statement, and they said that now you are allowed to freely wear Black Lives Matter memorabilia there. So I know we had muted the situation with Starbucks, but they now have come out with a counter statement. And shouts out to Jeff Bezos for sticking up for us too. All the white people that's sticking up for us on the forefronts, all the Hispanics, all the Asians. I don't care what race or creed, sexuality. You are helping us day by day by day change legislation and reform, and it all is thanks to all of us.
All right, you guys. Thank you. Yes, everyone. Thank you. We don't care what your race is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Because the only way to make change is within ourselves.
Starts with us.
So happy Friday.
Yes.
This is LJ.
This is Nicole.
And I'm Paige.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for Morris Media's Women of Prominence. We will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Peace.
Love you. Peace.
Take care.
This is a declaration, proclamation for the nation. We are kings and queens. We are kings and queens. With all the hate we face and dreams we're chasing, no replacing. We need to be free.